Hello, my name is Andrew Ebert, and I pastor a small church located here in Dayton, Ohio, called The Church. Yeah, I know I'm not very creative, but I figured, it's best to go up with. Anyway, we don't have a physical location yet. However, we do plan on meeting in a couple city parks around Dayton from time to time to have informal Bible studies. And right now, I'm going to be posting sermons online for the whole world to enjoy. Anyway, enough of that out of the way. Today's topic I'm going to talk about is sin. Now, a lot of you probably wondering, oh, well, what's sin? You know, I'm not entirely sure. It's kind of a, gray area, Well, sin, simply defined, is anything that displeases God. It doesn't necessarily have to be something evil, necessarily, but it's something that displeases Him. Now, everybody knows the gospel story of Jesus' birth, life, ministry, and resurrection. His death and resurrection. This is not geared towards the individuals who have no knowledge of that, because, let's face it, that's going to take a whole other video. This is geared towards the majority of Americans, and, frankly, the majority of people worldwide who have at least heard the gospel story. Anyway, Jesus Christ, as we all know, died for our sins on the cross. Now, that's a pretty simple statement to make. However, it's one that, frankly, not too many people understand, really, or even fully grasp. Okay? It's a pretty powerful thing for someone to die simply for you, okay? But to die for the whole world, that's a pretty big deal. Alright? Well, you have to understand that, yes, He died for our sins. Well, why did He have to die for our sins? That's probably what you're wondering. If you, have only casually read the Bible, maybe attended a church service once or twice, He died for our sins because of the fact that, let's face it, if, sin is like toxins, okay? It can be cumulative. One little sin, it'll cause you some problems. A whole bunch of sin can end up killing you. And that's what we're talking about, spiritual death. Jesus died to save us from that. Well, how did they do it before Jesus? Well, simple. In the book of Leviticus, there's a huge set of rules on sacrifices. Yes. Now, most people, when they hear the word sacrifice, think human sacrifice. That's not accurate at all with regards to the Bible. It's more animal and plant life. And there's, a variety of different types of sacrifices, depending upon, if you're poor or rich or whatever, and the type of sin or the type of problem that you've had. Now, sin can traditionally be divided into two different types. The type that you mean to do, okay? This can pretty much be mostly considered evil sins, like rape or murder, Just like, we have laws today, Those are evil for evil's sake, They're illegal simply because of the fact that they're wrong. Then, and I'm going to throw a legal term at you all, mala prohibitum. Basically, that's Latin for, basically it's illegal because we say it's illegal. That's what the government uses to cover for regulations. Things that's not really a crime, but it's a crime because they say it's a crime. That's the stuff that God put down. For example, with the Passover Seder, you would observe that in remembrance of what God did to free the slaves from Egypt. Okay? Just like with a lot of the rules from Leviticus. Those are all simply rules for how to live your life, according to Jewish tradition. If I remember correctly, there's something along the lines of like several hundred laws that they had to commit to memory and abide by. That's kind of a difficult task, So, obviously there'd be a lot of sacrifices for breaking these. Well, God decided, hey, I'm going to end up sending my son here to fix things. Sure enough, he came. Well, you gotta be wondering, where did sin come from? Simple. Book of Genesis, Adam and Eve. I hope most of you know this story. If not, I'll give you a brief recap. Okay, so pretty much first 6 days, God created the heaven and earth. He rested on the seventh, okay? Real simple, basic primer for you. He created man, and from man he created woman, okay? They're both naked. They lived together in the Garden of Eden, which was a big paradise, filled with every kind of plant and animal you might ever dream of. Well, God had one rule. One rule. It's very simple, okay? And it wasn't so much because it was evil for evil's sake. It's because of the fact that, it wasn't because that rule was because to cover something evil. It was to cover something that he basically said, hey, I'm going to give you a test, and make sure, that you're loyal to me. They failed, as you all know. You can't eat the apples, that are from the forbidden tree, the tree of knowledge. And, Satan, that sly trickster, weaseled his way in there, said, hey, take a bite. It ain't nothing. Oh, God just wants to hold that knowledge for himself. Big mistake. So, Eve took a bite and, ate it all up, convinced Adam to join her. Sure enough, God comes strolling through the Garden of Eden, They're naked as a jaybird. They go, oh, we're naked. Crap, let's throw on some sort of leaves or something, to make clothes. God shows up and says, hey, Adam, Eve, why are you guys covering yourselves up, how do you know you're naked? Oh, well, see, that snake over there convinced us to eat these apples, and, well, now, boom, you're out of here, Just, he just kicked him right out. And see, that was the original sin. That is what caused us to have the type of life that we have now, with all this death and crime and poverty. Excuse me. Is their mistake. And basically, all the Bible is the story of God's desire to, and his master plan, really, to fix the world that he created. Yeah, sure, he could snap his fingers like that and poof, everything would be fixed. But I'm sure there would be some sort of unforeseen repercussions that we don't see, or simply that, let's face it, it's more interesting to do it this way. Sorry about that, y'all. Fact of the matter is, none of us are perfect. None of us will ever be perfect. But, God would like us to do our best. Our true best, not what we say is our best. So, that is the story of original sin. Jesus basically died for us, And you shouldn't take that sacrifice lightly. You should take it as, wow, someone loved me so much as to die for me. You should take it very personal. And, well, with that, I think I'm going to leave you on that thought. And my next sermon is going to be covering how we are all, basically, that we're all sinners, and that God can work through you too. Don't think that just because, you're a heroin addict, or you're a prostitute, or you're flat broke struggling to pay the rent, or that, you have any kind of problem in your life. I don't care what it is. I'm just trying to think of some examples right now. That you have any of these problems. Hell, I've been homeless multiple times in my life. That's just one example. It doesn't matter what your problem is. God can work through you. Okay? And he loves you. So with that, I'm Pastor Andrew Ebert, signing off. God bless America. Have a nice day.